So again, Waikowhaitip, I am Cook Rosanne Casimir West for Tk'emlups Secwépemc. These past few days have been very, very heartfelt and very hard for our community, hard for the leadership. It was shocking at every single level. And, right now, our community is grieving. Our leadership is, actively working to ensure that, the communication with our membership is there, ensuring that we have appropriate resources that are available. And we've been working with First Nations Health and our Community Services Department here. And, we're definitely grateful that we have also previous leadership who were also quite supportive and, support from the nation. What was mentioned, we have 17 First Nation throughout Secwépemc, and today we had 13 out of the 17 that were present, and all of us leaders got to come together because the Kamloops was the home residential school since the 1890. And, we all know that many of our consultants and relations came to residential school, not by choice, but were students there. And we also do know that many of the students, have went missing as well. And, our consultants, they can definitely share in those stories and have shared in those stories. And, what I've heard from many of them is the fact that, the ones that they know were missing and never came back were told that they ran away. So, that still haunts. And, a lot of those triggers have popped up with this year find of 215 children. I'm a parent, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and it was devastating to hear this. Just to even try to even imagine what other parents, mothers are going through, and knowing that they have lost ones was very hard. We all had to take time to absorb, what we were told, what we've seen, and we're still grappling through the effects. And so I know that with a heavy heart, we've been ensuring that we had those resources available, because this loss was absolutely unthinkable. And we also know that with that, there's a lot of missing children that were never documented and by the Kamloops Indian Residential School. So I know that, even within our community, there's missing children. And so we're still grappling through the effects, the information. And today, a lot of our members, although there is the COVID-19 new provincial health orders, they did gather within our powwow arbor, and it was many of our cultural leaders throughout Secwépemc that came and provided ceremony, especially for our elders. And there were many throughout the nation. And I was truly honored to be able to go down there and participate in a few songs. And I stood behind my people there. For them, this was their ceremony to, start working through the grief and the loss, and to bring our people together in the cultural way. So I'm ready for questions.
So I see a first hand up from Julio. Please proceed.
Thank you. Rosanne, for what I understand, you have been the community has been the one that has started this research. And
Julio, you have your hand up. We're waiting for your question. If not, we'll go to the next one.
Sorry, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Is there any, hi Julio, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Sorry,
hi Julio, we can't hear you.
I can, sorry.
You have to unmute yourself.
I'm a mute.
I ready for your question?
Can you hear me now?
You're unmuted. I'm unmuted.
I don't know what to do.
Hello?
Hi,
Check,
can you
check.
hear me now?
Yes,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, thank you. Sorry about that. I don't know what was going on. My question is, for what I understand, you, the community, has been the one that has started this research that has been doing all the work. Do you think that the responsibility for the communities to find the remains of the missing children, or should be the federal government the one that should be proactively doing this kind of work?
Well, I definitely agree that, we want the federal government to step up. They definitely need to be assisting us. I know that Tk'emlups is our hometown campfire, and this is our area of responsibility. I know that we have a lot of oral history in regards to missing children throughout the nation and throughout Tk'emlups. And, we know that there's been generations of that information that was shared, but, never anything that was ever concrete. And there was never anything that was documented. And so, duly noting that, now that we have this here confirmed through the ground penetration work, we do know that, we are going to be looking at some of those next steps. And that was part of our initial discussions with the Secwépemc Nation chiefs this morning. And we want to have more collaboration, with our community membership here in Tk'emlups and Secwépemc, being the community, we want to be ensuring that we're respectful of our elders here and our membership, and having some further dialogue on what some of the potential next steps are going to be.
Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, it's Marcella from News 1130. Is it okay if I ask the next question?
Yeah, and then we'll go to Kyle.
Yes.
And then we'll go to Kyle.
And then we'll go to Kyle.
Just wanted to ask you if you've been in contact with the RCMP about whether or not this is something that you want to pursue charges on, or have you even gotten that far as trying to hold the people responsible for this accountable in any way?
So we have met with a local RCMP, and we know that the remains are many years old, decades. And so, we know that we want to approach, what we're doing with the next steps in the most respectful and honorable way possible. And, we do have an agreement with the police where we want to work together and, have that determination by our people and through the Secwépemc Nation chiefs as well, and have those further discussions. Next question.
So I'll see Kyle.
Kyle?
Tanase Kia, I hope you're doing okay. My thoughts are with you and your community. Really appreciate you making the time for us this afternoon. This news has affected not just your community and surrounding communities, but many Indigenous people across Turtle Island. Why do you think this type of news affects Indigenous people so deeply, and what does it mean to you to have their support and solidarity?
Well, what it means to have their support and solidarity is definitely something that is so needed. This harsh reality of knowing that, these historical, historical stories from our elders and previous residents of the residential school has been, ongoing for some time. And knowing that, it happened right here, we need that support and we appreciate that support. When we think and put ourselves into the shoes of the parents, and the families that have been impacted by the find, we know that it is spread right throughout Canada. And we know that, these are undocumented and unconfirmed, and, unconfirmed as identity. But we do know that there's many that are out there, and, for them to hear that, it also probably gives some hope too, that, you know, these children that have been found are going to be finding some resolve. And, you know, we want to make sure that, you know, we work with them and support them. And for one, to never forget these children either who have never gone home, and to give family supports with that as well. And, you know, part of that is, you know, having the emotional support, the mental health supports in place. And we've been working with First Nations Health with that in our local community services as well. We have had a lot of support from, you know, the federal government has reached out and, you know, expressed their sincerest condolences and apologies, and, you know, noting that, you know, that there are additional resources that will be available if needed. I know that working with the Kukuyes, it's more about ceremony. It's more about, you know, embracing our families, our consultants that have been impacted by this. And they've truly been traumatized, you know, again, and brought forth those triggers from their past. And so, you know, I know in the last couple of days, I've had elders, I've had community members reach out and, you know, express, you know, the depths of their sorrow, their sadness, and, you know, and how it's triggering them. And, you know, but at the same token, they're glad that it's coming forth, because it's a reality, and it's something that we do not want to have, you know, under the carpet in any shape or form. We want to, you know, heal with our people. And it has been hard on the leadership here. It's been quite emotional. And, you know, it's been very emotional.
We're gonna go next to Nick, Omar, and then Colton. Nick?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Great, thank you for taking my question. I'm hoping to know a little bit more about what you've talked previously about of the knowing of hearing these stories of missing children, not coming home or not being found. And can you kind of talk a little bit about whether that fueled this search, and I guess what that kind of discovery means for this community discussion and history?
Well, for one, we definitely know that, you know, this is something that, you know, many generations through the residential school, you know, have shared, you know, our elders have shared their stories in regard to their experiences at residential school. My mother has shared stories, my grandmother has shared stories, and many of our community, our consultants have shared stories. They've always talked about, you know, the various abuses that they've seen, been a part of, or witnessed. And, you know, knowing that, you know, children have went missing, their relations have went missing, that, and never came home. There was always questions of where, and, you know, there had to be more to the story than, you know, they ran away, or, you know, what other reason that they may have, you know, given. So I do know that with this here find, you know, it's about bringing in, you know, the advanced technology today to be able to, you know, look beneath the surface of the soils, and to, you know, confirm some of the stories that were once told. Next question.
Yeah, it'll be Omar, and then we'll have Colton and wrap up with Levi. That will be time for us.
Okay, Omar.
Hi, thanks, Chief Casimir, for taking my question. I'm wondering what you're hoping for in terms of how this will fit into Canadians' overall understanding of the residential school system and some of the atrocities there, especially for Canadians, you know, more mainstream settler Canadians who may not have that great of an understanding. What do you hope they will take away from this discovery?
It's a harsh reality, and it's our truths. It's our history. And it's something that's always been, we've always had to fight to prove. And to me, it's always been a horrible, horrible history that's always been, you know, basically denied from government. And, you know, when we're looking at, you know, ISK and the federal government and the government at large, and, you know, we look at the racism, we look at, you know, the discrimination, we look at all those different impacts, and, you know, they've all had an effect, you know, on us individually, as peoples, as a nation, and, you know, with all our relations. So, you know, moving forward, you know, it's about the truth coming out, And it's about, you know, truly honoring those children. And it's about, you know, coming together as a nation and being supportive, you know, knowing that these truths were always there. They're always underlying and they're coming out.
We'll go to Colton and then Levi. I'm sorry, Bob, we're out of time for your question. So Colton and Levi, I'm going to ask you to keep it short and sweet.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Thanks for doing this, Rosanne, and sorry that we're having this conversation. But I appreciate everything you've said so far, and I'm also curious. I know we're talking about remains of 215 children, which is, I mean, unthinkable in itself. But you know, based on the research you've done so far, and you know what we now know, do you worry or do you have any thoughts that there might even be more remains of children that, you know, maybe haven't been uncovered yet?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, we have not done all our grounds, and we do know that there is still more to be discovered. We know that through the TRC, how many missing children there are, and we know that there is still a lot of work. And we do know that many other First Nations who've had residential schools within their communities also too, you know, want to learn and want to use new technology to be able to find their lost loved ones as well.
We'll take a final question now from Levi.
Hi, Cook P. Thanks again for your time. Really appreciate it. I was just wondering if you could describe the closure, if you could, that this might provide to families, and if you do have time, if is this going to possibly spark some investigations at other former residential schools in the province?
Well, first of all, it is definitely an honor to be taking care of these children. And, you know, looking at all the various moving parts that we have to go through, you know, it was like going through grief and loss. And, you know, now it's, you know, stepping up as leaders to, you know, work with our communities, work with the nation, you know, work with everyone who's had children that, you know, attended the school, and to collectively collaborate on a way that we can all heal together. And today, so far, what I heard, the biggest thing we could do is start off with ceremony, and starting off with, you know, praying together and looking at, you know, what that healing journey is going to look like. But it's about starting off with ceremony.
Thank you. So sorry about that. Thank you very much, everybody. That does take us to time. I regret that we aren't able to take more questions. Know that this is the beginning. This is the beginning of a very unfortunate reality that we know is here, that we're living with. We know that this story is beyond our own realm, as we start off from the top saying. This goes out virtually across the province and into even other provinces and territories. We do plan on, when we have that final report, after we've been able to deliver it to our community here at Kamloops to Secwépemc, we will be reaching out to again, because we know this is a story that to tell the story is to honor those lost loved ones. So thank you so much.